tell you that glowing up is extremely easy and that you don't need to change your whole self to actually glow up. You've been lied to about what glowing up is and how to do it. You've probably watched every single glow up video, tried all those makeup tutorials, and even tried to change your habits, but nothing actually let you glow up. But this isn't your fault, because society has taught us that glowing up means adding things to our life. But what if I tell you that it actually means removing subconscious patterns from your life? For years I was convinced I simply had to add more workouts, more habits, and more makeup to my routines. But that didn't actually change anything until I discovered a forbidden book which society has kept away from us because they feared that if women like you would know about that it would unlock their potential and make them glow up so significantly that people would even start turning on the streets just to look at you. So in this video, you're going to learn all the principles that I found out about in this book. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to give you a 3-minute exercise that you can do to have that frequency in your daily life. Most people think that glowing up is extremely hard, but that belief is keeping them stuck. The thing that actually changed everything for me was cognitive neural transformation. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down why it actually works better than forcing a glow up, the exact principles I used from the forbidden book, and how to use it for yourself. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to give you the 3-minute exercise that you can do daily to reclaim your power. I was so tired of feeling bad about myself because of how I acted. Then I stumbled upon a challenge that promised me to change my behavior. It is called 75 Hard Challenge, which is a mental toughness challenge. I was so excited to start. I thought I had finally found the cure to my problem. So some days went by and I quit. I used to think glowing up was physical, but actually then I found out it is breaking subconscious patterns. So I started developing a scientific method called cognitive neural transformation, and everything changed. I used to think glowing up was extremely hard until I once read a book where the woman said, you have to change your subconscious because changing your habits doesn't change how your brain responds. And I was like, that is crazy. I tried changing my habits, but I was not changing the root cause. No wonder I couldn't change. So she made me realize that I have to break the patterns in order for me to respond differently. And then I thought to myself, what if I could change those pathways to let my brain respond differently? From that day on, I started researching, and what I found was crazy. So just like with our habits, our brain forms pathways to execute a habit automatically so that it has less mental load. This is kind of like when your brain learns to brush your teeth with your left hand. You never even think about which hand to use because it's now a neural pathway. But because they're now automatic, it can be pretty hard to change them. So I developed a scientific method called CNT and tried it for a week. The crazy thing was I didn't even realize how much I changed until my man told me that I started to respond differently to situations. That actually blew my mind. Like, how is it that it works so good? Now I'm gonna explain you the method so that you can use it too. First, the broadcasting station of the body. Do you know that you have 2 districts in your body? One for receiving and one for sending. Once I understood this allowed me to start controlling my emotions and don't just let any emotion out. Did you know that you have an emotional station in your body which is located in your belly, which is called the solar plexus? And this is where vibrations of fear, anger, or excitement come from. And when you walk into a room anxious, you're actually sending those signals to other people in the room. But then you also have the intellectual station, which is your brain. This is where constructive imagination and focus comes from, and where it also is produced. And then there's your receiver, which is your heart. Second, your psychic atmosphere. Did you know that every person, every building, every home has a specific scent that lingers long after a thought is gone? So to change the room, you must change the smell inside your brain. So if you want a high value life, you must broadcast high value vibrations like success, confidence, and reassurance until the smell of your atmosphere changes. 3. The Law of Affinity. And I have a question for you. Why do you think that we're not overwhelmed by all the thoughts other people have? That is because you only receive things you have a likeliness for. So, for example, if you focus on lack, then you're going to receive all the lack information that you have in your city. But let me tell you, you can cancel out negative vibrations by focusing on the positives. If you don't have an affinity towards the negative, then those frequencies cannot stick to your heart. 4. Destroying letter technique. This is the most high valuable exercise you can do to transform your life from the distance. Write a detailed letter to someone you want to influence or hear about. The act of writing with focus gives yourself a centered energy, and the vibration is directly sent to the heart of the person you want to influence. This proves to you that space and direction are an illusion. So if you seek to change your life, first, cleanse your atmosphere. Stop thinking low vibration thoughts which attract low vibration frequencies. Second, use your hardware. Recognize that your solar plexus and your heart are things you can train. 3. Command your space. And realize that you carry the frequency and then you can change it by making it shine and positive. And since I use cognitive neural transformation, I've been so happy and so confident in myself. And this even affected how I see myself and my character. And it led me to find my real love in my life. And he even told me that he liked me instead of the other girls because I was so self-assured and so confident in myself. And if you're interested to work with me one-on-one, then there's a type form in the description to see if you're a good fit. I would love to work with you. Now, coming to how to change your frequency. To particularly change your frequency, you have to stop thinking about moods as abstract feelings and see them as radio signals. Changing your frequency is a process of selective attention. First, apply the law of neutralization. So, just like water, when you have hot water and you pour cold water into it, you get neutral water. So if you're vibrating at a low frequency like fear or worry, then you can't simply wish it away. You must inject the opposite frequency to neutralize it. So first, identify your frequency in your solar plexus. Then deliberately generate the opposite thought. For example, when I feel anxious, then I plant the thought in my head, I am safe. I don't need to worry. And repeat that all over again. And because those two frequencies cancel each other out, you can then start from 0 and climb to the positive side. Second, scrub your psychic atmosphere. As I explained before, your environment, so your home, your office, and your room hold specific senses of your past thoughts. If you've been depressed in your bedroom, then this bedroom holds the sense of depression. So we must resend our spaces. So spend 10 minutes broadcasting the opposite frequency to cancel it out and then build the positive up. Eventually, the new send replaces the old one. Third, tune your heart. As I explained beforehand, your heart is your wireless receiver. And just like when you're on the street focusing on one conversation, you can do the same thing with your heart too, so that it only receives the things you actually want to focus on. When you sense a negative vibration from someone, simply say, I have no affinity. By denying affinity, your heart has no potential to take that vibration or frequency on. And then it passes through you without even attaching to you. 4. Change your emotional transmitter. While the brain sends intellectual thoughts, your solar plexus sends the emotional frequencies. So focus on the area just below your ribs. Now visualize a dynamo spinning there. Feel it getting warmer. Now focus on that energy. And let me tell you, this is the most powerful frequency for us women because it is where our emotions lie, and our emotions have the highest chance of pulling forces because it acts like a magnet, so we can manifest anything. Because everyone draws thought patterns which are in harmony. So this propels inharmonious thought patterns. By changing just 10% of what you let into your body, you are changing the affinity of your heart. You're not changing your whole self, but you're changing the state you let your body to be in. And I know how it feels to be stuck. But once you practice these principles, I can tell you that the glow up is going to start from inside and it's going to change everything. Now, as I promised, use the 3-minute exercise to change your frequency in so little time. When you're in a situation where you're anxious, then you can think of, I am the center of power. And by repeating those words, you're gonna change your inner frequency. For example, when you're in a current state of scarcity, what we ultimately want is abundance. There you can use the destroying letter method to ultimately focus on your goal that you have in mind or the person that you desire to have. Then you can visualize your highest frequency, which is clarity and love, into your environment and change the frequency of your room. So what we ultimately want is a kind of shield that protects us. So when we deny affinity, that creates this shield that we can use any time of the day. So to round this up, you're not becoming a new person to glow up, but you're changing the frequency you hold in your body, and actually changed how I think of myself, how I think of my life, how much energy I have, and I can tell you this worked so good. And see you in the next video.